Okay, prediction time, everybody. In my video earlier today, I had mentioned that the midwits are accepting that the 9/11 conspiracy theorists were correct, but they're reframing it to make it sound like the ones potentially holding the smoking guns it just wasn't correct. So, for instance, I gave the example of they admit now that there was massive trading on United and American Airlines stocks the day before the attack, or a few days leading up to the attack, like September 7th to September 10th, I think. And they admit that, and now they're saying that, well, it was Bin Laden and his team decided to make some financial, investments, knowing that they were going to attack the Twin Towers. Not anyone else, not that there was anyone who knew it was coming. And they failed to mention that they do mention that an American company was primarily contacting its shareholders and saying, quickly, buy stocks or sell your stocks into American and United. But they're now claiming that company was working on a tip from Bin Laden. This is how they're reframing it. So I'm looking on my social media today, and what comes up, a picture of Larry Silverstein, the owner of the World Trade Center, looking like a saint, as an honourable man in a kind of a pose. And it said, and on a midwit site, I fucking love science, I think it was. And its headline reads, 9/11 was the only day that Larry Silverstein ever missed a day of work at the World Trade Center. Now, that's another one of the conspiracy theorists, touchstones, points. They're now saying, yes, that's true. After years of saying, you're a scumbag, there was no trading the day before, you're a scumbag, Larry Silverstein did go to work that day. They're now saying Larry Silverstein didn't go to work that day because it was an act of fate. Something just happened, that a thing happens on the course of our lives, all of a sudden could change for no reason. So you see what they're doing? And it seems to be all coming from a central source, the CIA or from Mossad, whoever, or more likely a combination of them under the Saudi umbrella. Okay, you're going to see more and more of that. They're going to talk more and more about things that we said were conspiracy. You'll hear about the hurricane that diverted. You'll hear about the Israeli art students that were moving boxes in and out, the floors that were empty, the 5 dancing Israelis, and they'll say the poor young lads were just excitable and they got caught up in the moment and they were blamed because they're from our greatest ally. You just watch this, and it's the same with that Restore bunch in America, in England. That's all about I'm convinced they're a Mossad front as well with the whole Christian thing. Now, you just watch this. They're going to start actively blaming the conspiracy theorists for being in on 9/11. You just watch. Well, how did so-and-so who ran the conspiracy site call it so correctly? Maybe he was working with Bin Laden, or she was working with Bin Laden. That's my prediction. Very short, well, in the months to come, with this midwit reframing of the 9/11 conspiracies, as they did exist, but they were just fate or bad luck, or Bin Laden was the one doing it from a cave in Afghanistan. I can guarantee you they're going to start saying, maybe these conspiracy theorists were so correct because they were working for Bin Laden. Well, just watch.